I'm in Ukraine, yay! This was going to be chai time instead of coffee time, but we drank all of our chai while talking because I haven't seen my friend in forever, so we sat there and drank all of the chai, and then I was like, oh well, I'll just make more later. But yeah, so this is my room. There's the zombie killer jacket. And it has come in quite handy so far. This is my bed. This room has like 3 different beds in it, so I was given a choice of whichever bed I wanted, so I went with that guy, because it looked like, apparently she had 2 friends that stayed here not too long ago, and she said that she didn't think that anything had been switched over from the beds before, so I took the bed that looked the least crumply. Also, I like beds that are in like corners of rooms, so yeah. But I'm really excited because I didn't think that I would like have like a room to myself. Like this is pretty crazy. I'm really excited about it. Let me tell you though, I don't have a place to put you yet, so I'm gonna carry you around there. Maybe I'll pace. No, that'll be weird. That'll make the whole background really weird. Well, let's sit down. Let's sit down on my super awesome bed. So my traveling experience yesterday was hilarious. So, my travels started at 6:30 in the morning on Friday is when that's when my plane left. So I got there at 4:30 because Fridays are typically when business people take off and do things. So I was like, oh, it's a foreign flight and it's Friday. There would probably be lots of people there. I should get there really early. So, Ro and Mike took me to the airport, but the funny thing is that it only took me like 20 minutes to get through security and show my passport and all that stuff. So I was like, well, at least I'm here early instead of late, right? So then they shuffle all of us onto the plane, and I was like, oh, I'm not hungry yet. I'll eat at the stop that's in New York at JFK. So I get on the plane, and they're like, all right, there's gonna be a slight delay because apparently the captain's window has like a gap, like there was air coming in, and it made them nervous, obviously. So they were like, well, let's patch it now for safety. So they were like, it'll be a really short delay. You guys won't, we won't get there very late at all. No worries. So it took forever. It took forever for them to patch up this window. And then, we flew to JFK. It was like I think that flight was 5 hours and the second one was 7. But so the 5-hour flight to JFK, we get in an hour late. An hour late, and that's not counting the amount of time that it takes to get off of the plane when everybody's tripping balls trying to get off the plane. So then it was like an extra 10 minutes, and I had 20 minutes to go to another terminal, go through security, show my passport, and then get on the next plane. Which was impossible. I didn't do it. None of us that were trying to get on the plane to France were able to do it. I'm gonna switch arms. I really hope that I'm actually in the frame. I always am concerned about that. So, what was I saying? Oh, France! Yeah, so none of us made it, and they were super mean. like really mean. I showed up there out of breath. It still said final call. And I got there and I was like, I'm here, here's my ticket. And they were like, oh, we just sold your ticket. It's like, what? I was like, oh God, I thought I was gonna cry. I thought I was gonna burst into tears. I was like, no, because, it was pretty late in the day. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to get to Ukraine, like, in time. And it sucks because my friend had to, she had to take like an overnight train and stuff to get to Kiev to pick me up. Kiev. Everybody says it differently here, I'm noticing. So, yeah. So, they had to escort me back to sales. And it turned out, fortunately, they covered my butt because it was their fault that I was there late. So, I was able to get on a plane to Prague, which was exciting because I missed Prague a lot. I was able to get on a plane to Prague and then from Prague go to Kiev. So that was really exciting. I hung out at the airport for another couple of hours. Their Airbus that like takes you to terminal. The JFK airport is the most confusing airport I've ever been in my life. Anybody who lives in New York, I'm so sorry that you have to navigate that airport because it is dumb. That's how I feel. I do not like that airport at all. Yeah, I like the Airbus is comfy and fantastic and really good for people watching, but oh, I forgot to tell you, switching arms again. Hello. So when I got on the first plane, when I was still in California, there was this dude who was really grumpy about his coffee, like really grumpy about the coffee. And he ordered his coffee. This was like before I got on the plane. This was at the little coffee shop that was right next to my gate. This guy ordered his coffee, like cut a bunch of people in line, including me. Got his coffee. We were all like, what? And then he stood there at the place where they give the coffee out and was just like standing there like this. I feel like I meet the most irritating people. Was just standing there like this. And then he was like, where's my coffee? I was in front of all of these people. And they were like, well, it's on the way. So, just be patient. He was like just having a cow in the middle of the airport. It was just so funny. And then they finally gave him his coffee and he got really grumpy and like stormed off. And then all of the dudes that were back there making the coffees were like, where's my coffee? Making fun of him, and I couldn't help it. I started laughing. And then when I was on the actual plane to JFK, one of the flight attendants spilled water all over my lap and then went to pat down my lap. And I was like, no, that's okay, dude. I got it. Thank you, though. He was really awkward about it. And then later, I don't know, this was weird. It was really condescending later and was like, well, I'm really sorry, but you know what? I could give you a Japanese Sprite. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, we don't just have regular Sprite. We have Sprite from Japan. And held it up and I was like, I'll have water, thanks. It was so weird. So then the second flight that I was on to Prague, I was sitting next to a cocoon woman who wrapped herself up. It was so weird. Wrapped herself up in like 4 blankets and then had an Afghan over her head and then took the actual flight blanket and put that over her head. And then every time, I was just right next to me. Like, of course it couldn't be in front of me, so I could right next to me. And at first I was like, oh, maybe she's cold. But then I was like, this is getting excessive. Like, the more she wrapped herself up, I was like, dude. And then the flight attendant that came by, when he would ask us what we wanted, she would say, can I have water? And then he would give her water, and then she'd go, do you have apple juice? And he was like, oh yeah, we have apple juice. And she was like, can I get apple juice too? And he was like, sure. And gave her apple juice, and then she was like, what about tea? Do you have tea? And he was like, yeah. She was like, can I get some tea? He was like, sure. And then when he was like walking up and down the aisle later, she like waved him down and was like, do you have orange juice? And I was like, what? She had like a world of drinks. It was so fantastic. Cocoon Lady was the best. She was my favorite of the people that I sat next to. But yeah, then I got into Prague 7 hours later. Oh, that was such a long flight. 7 hours later, got into Prague. Was like, oh, Prague, I miss you. And everybody was super helpful and fantastic because my flights had been changed, right? So I was switching from one airline to another. I was switching to Czech Airlines. So right when I got off the plane, I had to run to the Czech Airlines booth and be like, I was switched and apparently I'm on this flight now. Can I get a boarding pass? And the lady was like, okay. But she helped me out and was super nice. And then I had to go through a security lane where they did not give any sort of a flying poop about what I did. It was so amazing because I'm so used to American security lines where they make you like take off your shoes, take off all of your layers, and then like unpack anything that might come up weird on the scanner and all that. I went there and I like went to take off my shoes, and she was like, I was like, no, you don't want me to take off my shoes? And she was like, and then I like went to take out like I had a bag of cheese that I brought her. I went to take out a bag of cheese and she was like, I was like, okay, and just like shoved everything through there, and then she was like, went through, it was great. And then yeah, and then showed up in Kyiv. And now I have met up with my friend, and then this is the best part, is that wasn't the end of my journey. Oh no. Ukraine is very pretty, very peaceful. Everything that I've seen so far is super flat, and there's a lot of space between villages, which is really interesting. So like we, after she grabbed me, we bought some peaches off of a babuja on the street, and then we started walking around, and then we got to a bus, and we took, it was like an 8-hour bus, so then we took an 8-hour bus to her village. And so now I'm in the village, but I swear, when I got here, I was like, I love you, but I'm passing out. And she was like, okay. And we had talked on the bus a lot, so she wasn't offended at all. And she was like, the beds might be kind of uncomfortable. And I was like, it's no big. And it wasn't uncomfortable at all. I was like, but when I did get in, I pulled back the blankets because I was like, I should check and see, because this room, I can tell it's not used very often. I was like, I should check and see if there are any like insects. So I pulled back the sheets and there was a spider just like chilling there, and I was like, I'm really glad I checked. So I wasn't like laying on a spider. That would have been awkward. But yeah, so that is my experience so far in Ukraine. I haven't had a chance to use very much Ukrainian yet, although people keep asking me questions in Ukrainian, and then she keeps saying she doesn't know Ukrainian, and then they ask me a different question in Ukrainian, and I'm like, I don't know, Yani ponimayu, ya amerikanka, I don't know what you're saying. But the kids, I've met some of the kids, and they're super cute. They're like, hello, what is your name? One of the boys like pointed at me. He was like, what is your name? And I was like, it's so cute. Oh, other thing, just a quick side note. The dudes are really, really big into buzz cuts here. Like, really big into buzz cuts. I have not seen a different hairstyle than the buzz cut hairstyle. They're really, really big into it. These are all facts from Ukraine so far in my experience here. But yeah, good times. It's been really fun so far. I got to watch the 8-hour bus trip. There were a bunch of drunk dudes who almost got kicked off, but then started apologizing a bunch and were like, please let us back on. And he was like, okay, this is me paraphrasing because it was all in yelled Ukrainian. And then they got back on the bus, and one of them like passed out like across the back of the bus, so you couldn't get out the back entrance without having to step over him. And then when they finally got off the bus, they were like, they were so annoying. When they finally got off the bus, everybody was like, yes, like so happy. The entire thing smelled so heavily of vodka, so heavily. We were like, oh, why? But yeah, so that is my Ukraine experience so far. It's awesome. It's really, really pretty here. Very peaceful. And yeah, I will keep you guys posted as often as I can. We're trying to do as much as we can while I'm here. So there might be times when I'm not able to post videos, but I will post as often as I can and tell you guys everything that is going on. I've started taking pictures already, so we're covered on that. But yeah, anywho, I will talk to you guys again soon, and I hope you guys are having a great week. Okay, bye-bye. Wish me luck. Mwah.